Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 103rd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Sam Crow, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. Then we have Brotherhood member Tyrannus, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. Then we have Brotherhood member Uther, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. And also he's bought a couple of unusual units. He's bought the a unit of the Sam Knight Gladiators. You don't see them very often bought to the 31k battlefield, but he likes to bring them now and again. They're only a small unit of 40, but they're quite tough. Quite a tough unit. And also, if you notice, he's bought the old school cavalry armoured general there. As I said before in other battle videos I've made, 8-9 years ago people used to bring the armoured cavalry general as normal, but they're not bought that often now. And the fourth member of the team is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Carthage faction. This battle was fought approximately 2 years ago. So that's our team there. Pretty good team, but you wait till you see the other team. Should be a great battle to watch. And here is the other team. We have Titans member Cerberus. I don't see him on the RTW battlefield much these days, but he was a Titans member then. And then we have King's Cataclysm. You may well know him as the Brotherhood member Sacred. Sacred was in the Brotherhood, then he left to join the Kings, and now he's back in the Brotherhood. And then we have Killer B, Brotherhood member Killer B, with the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have Greeks member Cleomenes, who has bought the Macedon faction there. As I said before, the Greeks' aim on RTW was to be the best with pike factions in the game, and after hours and hours of doing this, they achieved their goal, and I think most people would agree that they are the best there. This should be a great battle for us all to watch. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Tyrannus' Roman army. Here you can see he's got, I think it's 18 infantry and just 2 cavalry here. Also, if you notice, his formation is pretty unusual too. I think the reason he's bought this much infantry is because we're facing 2 Macedonian armies, and he knows that there'll be a lot of infantry fighting going, so that's why he's bought so much infantry. Be interesting to see how well his infantry does. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at the 2 Macedon armies that are facing us. As you can see, both Macedon generals have bought mostly pike units with just a few archer units in each. I think each of them have bought 3 archers each, so that means they've got 17 pike units. So that's massive pike armies that these 2 have bought for us here. It'd be interesting to see seeing how well they do. I think Tyrannus' choice of bringing 18 infantry and 2 cavalry on seeing this much infantry, I think was a good move by him. As you notice, my Carthage army is at the back there. This Carthage army was an experimental army at the time, and it was built solely really to fight Greek cities, but I thought I'd give it a bit of a try out here against the Macedonians, just to see how well it would do. So here you are, kind of an overall picture of the how everybody's squaring up to each other. You can see Sacred's got a nice little Macedon formation there, and Titans Cerberus on this side I think is already starting to look quite aggressive. I think this is where the action could actually start on this flank, I think. Tyrannus with all that Roman infantry means lots and lots of pilers, so I think that should decrease the Macedons. Here you can see on our right flank here that Titans Cerberus and our Julii ally there are actually starting the battle off. Quite an aggressive charge there by Sam Crow there with his Julii infantry. If you notice that the SBQR cavalry are charging in there. If you notice that the SBQR cavalry were not in wedge formation, they were just in ordinary formation. And of course, if you want to penetrate enemy infantry, then best thing to do is to put your cavalry in wedge formation, and that really does make a difference when you actually charge into to enemy infantry. The archers on the Macedonian side has forced our teammate to put their cavalry further at the rear there to avoid being killed by the archer fire. Here you can see another SBQR cavalry charge going in support of his fighting infantry. And bang! That's a lot of cavalry going in there. That's a lot of cavalry charge bonus hitting our allies' Julii infantry there. If you noticed, there's some Julii cavalry coming in to try and counter-attack the SBQR cavalry. If you can see, Sacred now is bringing over some Macedon reinforcements for his ally. New players watching this, it's always good to be able to see where you're needed to send your troops on the battlefield, where you can go over and support your allies, and that's a great move by Sacred there. As you can see on our left here, our Julii teammate has lost several cavalry units there in a tussle with the SBQR cavalry. As you can see, Sacred's brought his Macedon units in a wide arc, hoping probably to go into the flank of our allies' Julii infantry there. Let's just pause the game here so we take stock of the situation. Let's say here on our right flank, things are not looking that good for our Julii ally there. If you notice that Tigranes has sent over some Julii infantry in support from the centre, but if you see on our right there, we've got pike units and cavalry units out to our right, which does not look, as I said, very good on our right flank there. Tigranes has spotted the danger and is sending over even more infantry support there. As we move over into the centre there, you can see that the Macedon pikemen are still stood there in a defensive position, and you can see that Brotherhood member Killer B with his Scipii army there is attacking our Julii ally there. And over on our far left, you can see my Carthage army is facing the Macedonian massive Macedonian army there. I think this would be a good trial for my my small Carthage army, where it looks very small in comparison to the 120 man units of the Macedon army there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, especially on our right flank. If you notice there, the SBQR cavalry are charging in on a right flank in action here. This could rout some of our allies' troops there. Hitting them in the flank. Yeah, you can see one of the Julii units starting to rout there. My guess is, though, that Sacred will pull his Macedonian units back now, because he's seen Tigranes has brought over some herbs, so he knows that there's a lot of pilers in those urban units, so it wouldn't surprise me if he pulls those pike units back. Yeah, there you go, he's pulling the pike units back now, knowing that he would suffer a lot of damage from those pilers there. Meanwhile, here you can see Sacred's Macedon support units there, helping his SBQR ally against our Julii ally there. That's a nice bit of team support there by Sacred. As I said, new players watching this, being battlefield aware, knowing what's happening, knowing where you can send units to help your teammates. As I said before in other battle videos, the only way you win team battles is to play as a team and help each other out. So that's a good way of for you to watch what Sacred does there, because you can see what a good team player he is. I think without Sacred's pike unit support there, the SBQR army probably would be in a bit of trouble. As you can see, Killer B's Scipii cavalry is just charged into a Julii unit in Testudo. We just hit them, pulled back out. Nice little move there. Would have weakened that unit. Meanwhile, over on our far left, you can see that I've moved my Carthage army out to face this massive Macedonian army head on. But I'm very aware that over on my right I can see enemy Scipii infantry. And what I don't want is for that enemy Scipii infantry to come running up to my right flank and try and cut me off from my allies, because then I would be caught fighting two armies, if you like, there, plus all the pilers from that Scipii army. So the best thing for me to do, I think, is to draw my army back towards my allies there. Also, I might be able to send units to help my allies as well if it's needed, if I'm closer. Meanwhile, over on our right flank, you can see that the enemy Scipii cavalry has moved over to our right flank as well. And as you can see there, the Macedon pikemen there are standing firm against the attack by the Julii Roman infantry there. So we've got a lot of units here on the right fighting. You can see the SBQR unit charging into the rear of our Julii allies unit there. That unit managed to hold, so that was good. As you can see, Uther's bringing over some more reinforcements as well to help with the battle on the centre and the right. But he's Intigranus and Uther have left some units there over on our left as well. Now where I've pulled in, I can see there's a danger that the SBQR army could overlap our left flank, if you like, and come in behind our fighting infantry. So what I've got to do, I've got to try and hold there with my Carthage army, to try and hold that Macedon army back, but also try and stop the Scipii units getting in behind our fighting allies. If you notice there, I put a couple of units over, Carthage units facing to the right there, to defend against Scipii infantry attack. Plus I'm just waiting for that massive Macedon army to hit me there. This would be a real good experiment to see how good this Carthage army really is. As you can see over here on our right flank, the Macedon pikemen, as I said earlier, are standing firm against the attack of our Julii ally there. Right here you can see on our left, I've put a couple of units to defend the right side of my army, but I'm also attacking with Carthage units on the left side of my army, sending units into that massive Carthage army, just to see how well they can do against the massive numbers of those Macedon units there. As I say, this is an experimental army, and I think putting them up against a massive Macedon army like that will be a really good experiment. Meanwhile, here on our right flank, let's just going to pause the game for a second here. As you can see here, over on the left flank now, the Carthage army is gradually, slowly making inroads into that Macedon army. But if you notice that the difference in length of pikes, those Macedon pikes are extremely long against the Carthage pikes. And like I've said in other battle videos, my troops have got to fight down those long pikes to be able to get to the men on the other end. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that left flank. Right, here we're going to pause the game just to take stock of the situation. As you can see, the Macedon general here, Sacred, has made like a defensive formation. He's very aware of the Julii cavalry roaming the battlefield, and what he doesn't want that cavalry to smash into the back of his engaged pikemen, as you can see there. So what he's done, he's put some units at the rear of those pike units to defend against any cavalry hits there. That's a nice little defensive formation there by Sacred. Meanwhile, here in the centre left, you can see the enemy Scipii infantry engaged with our allies Julii infantry there. And over on the far left, you can see my Carthage units are repelling some Scipii units there, but are also attacking the Macedon units there. Can you see this one lone Macedon unit here on the right? I should imagine that's going to move round to the rear of my units there. Let's see what happens. There you go. You see he's taking that Macedon unit round to the rear, hoping to get into the back of my units there. I think my general unit is probably a spare unit at the back there, just stood there giving morale to my fighting troops at the moment, but I'm going to have to move them over to counter this this Macedon unit that's coming around the rear. As you can see at the moment, the battle is very touch and go, but it's nice to see we've got some Julii cavalry roaming the battlefield there. We've definitely got the cavalry advantage at the moment. It looks to me like he's going to smash into the back of that engaged Scipii infantry. I'm hoping it'll rout it as it hits, and bang! but a couple of its units were stopped by some Scipii cavalry as well, so he didn't get the full impact of all his cavalry going in there. But it was a nice little tactic by the Julii general there. All the time there's a couple of Scipii archer units that has been put into close formation, firing fire arrows into my my fighting units as well. Meanwhile, over here on the right you can see that still the Macedon pikemen are standing firm against the attack of our Julii ally. And as I said, my Carthage units are gradually making inroads into that that massive Macedon army there. But against these numbers, it'll be interesting to see how well they do by the end of the battle. There's a close-up of them fighting there. You can see the length of those Macedon pikes against the shorter Carthage spears there. As you can see in the centre there, our Julii ally is fighting Scipii infantry and actually fighting Macedon pikemen as well, so he's doing very well there at the moment. If we could get some of our Julii cavalry up behind some of these pikemen, these engaged Macedon pikemen, and maybe hitting the back, because Macedon morale is not that good, and I think if the cavalry could to get a couple of units routing, it would knock the morale down of other Macedon units there as well. See the cavalry going? That was very battle damaged cavalry that went in there, but it's done the trick. I think it's routed one of the Macedon units there. Well done by our Julii ally there. If you can see here, the Macedon units now have done very well, and a lot of our Julii infantry have routed at this stage over on our right flank. Meanwhile, in our centre left here, you can see that there's a fierce battle going on there. If that red cavalry could just go into the back of that fighting Macedon unit in the centre there, I think he could rout a lot of those enemy troops if he just charges in there with that cavalry. See, meanwhile on our right, a lot of our Julii allies' infantry have routed, so now the Macedonian generals able to take more pikemen over to the battle on the left. Meanwhile, as you can see here, my Carthage army has made massive inroads into the Macedonian army. See that red Julii cavalry coming in behind, and that could rout some of the Macedon units there. Even though they turned to face him, they just couldn't get their pikes down in time, and the impact of the cavalry on their low morale caused a lot of the units to rout. You can see the Macedon generals routed as well now, so as I said before, the Macedon morale is not very good, and now their generals died. Their morale will drop even more. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation again. As you can see, most of the Macedon army here on the left has now been routed. I'm now running, I've upped spears and I'm now running my pikes over to the centre left here to help my ally out. As you can see, our Julii allies fighting well against enemy Scipii and Macedon infantry there. But if you notice now, over on our right flank, you can see that if you remember, all the Julii infantry there that were fighting there have now been routed, and that was just attacking pikes head on. That's what happens if you attack pikes head on. So now that Macedon general can bring all those pike units over to this battle now. So this battle is still very much in a balance. Yes, you can see my Carthage army is running in there, but if you look at all the pike units that's left, it's be interesting to see what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. As you can see, I'm running my pikes over. As those new players that's watching this, if you put your pikes up, you can run your pikemen. If you keep your pikes down, you can only walk with them. It's just for new players who are just starting the game, if ever you fancy using pike units. As you can see there, it was a nice little charge by some Julii cavalry into the back of the enemy infantry there, if you saw that charge in. You notice I'm going to charge. I charged over there quickly with my pikes up so I could run into the battle, but then I'm going to put my pikes down and then start advancing towards those Macedon pike units that's come over from our right. As you can see, there's still both enemy and ally units routing at the moment. Here's a bit of a close-up there. Did you see the enemy general rout then? But our allies' general's just been killed as well, so of course that's obviously going to lower the morale of our Julii troops that are there. I've just seen another Julii unit start to rout. So this is a very, very much touch and go, this battle at the moment. You see, I've paused the game at the moment just for us to take stock of exactly what's happening here. As you can see, there's a lot of Macedon infantry left. As I say, I'm charging through my allies' Julii infantry with my pikemen to take on those Macedon units in the front of me. But also, if you notice, there's Macedon pike units coming in behind me as well.
Enemy general has been killed. Now
So I'm going to have to turn some of my pike units to face those attacking pike units behind me. So you see, I'm moving some of my units forward and some of my units back there towards the armies. In fact, you could say my Carthage army was almost in a vice there. But what I'm doing, I'm fighting out of that vice. If you notice, I'm attacking slowly but steadily through those Macedon pike units as I'm kind of fighting out of that vice situation, if you like.
as enemies, these men are perfect.
There's still several of our Julii units left, but I can guarantee that virtually every unit on this battlefield is very battle damaged at the moment. And as I say, this battle could still be a little bit in the balance here with all the pike units that Macedon pike units that are coming back, that were probably routed but have now rallied and come back now. If you notice, those couple of Macedon pike units are going for my general there. I think Cleomenes is using his years of experience, knowing that if he can kill my general, then it would obviously lower the morale of the rest of the Carthage troops. So that's why he's got 2 Macedon units on my general there, hoping to do the damage to my general there. As you can see, though, my Carthage Sacred Band are slowly but steadily pushing through, as well as my Julii ally as well, who's doing extremely well. They're using the flexibility and the speed of the urban cohorts there. I always think like pike units advancing through enemy lines just remind me, I think I've said this before, of a slow steamroller moving forward very gradually but steadily. If you notice the intensity of the battle by the dead on the ground, can you see from one flank to the other is just a mass of bodies lying on each other. What a massive battle, an intense battle this was. As you can see, there's only one enemy unit left, and that's the Carthage general there, who's holding very well. Sorry, not the Carthage, the Macedonian general there, who's holding very well against both Julii infantry and Carthage infantry. And there you are, it's the armoured general smashed into the back of the last Macedonian unit there. As I say, I was just looking at the dead on the battlefield here, from one flank to the other. It's absolutely a mass of dead troops, which goes to show how intense this battle was, and how close this battle was too. It looked a little bit, it didn't look that close towards the end, but it really was. Just like I say, really well played to everybody in that battle. There were some great moves by both teams there, and some really great supporting moves as well, which is always good to see. One of the reasons I showed this battle is it's very unusual to get 2,000 kills. As I said before, veterans on RTW would have got 2,000 kills probably on several times during their career on RTW, but it is unusual. And in this battle, if you see, 2 players have got over 2,000 kills. And as I say, that is even more rare to get 2 players in one game that's got over 2,000 kills. So really well played there to Tigranes to get so many kills there. Really well done. And I'd just like to say really well done to the other team too. I noticed a lot of great support move, lots of great tactical moves, and they played extremely well there. Really great to play such a good team, and really well done to the team I was in as well. I thought Sam Crow, Tigranes and Uther played extremely well, showing all their years of experience there. And I hope you enjoyed this battle. It was a great battle to be in. The Spartan commander saying bye for now, see you soon.